Hey guys, so our office is directly across the street and I sit at my desk and I stare at Collectivus Church all day long. So I wanted to come see what it's all about. We're here today with Ben Nelson and he's going to talk to us all things Collectivus. So we're here today with Ben at Collectivus Church, and not a lot of people realize that there is a church here on Main Street.
Right on Main Street. It's because it's painted black. So they're like, that's not a church.
Fall color, black. Well, tell us a little bit about Collectivus.
Yeah, so we started in 2020. We launched at the intermediate school at the time, but as soon as we launched from there, actually one of our city council members asked, hey, would you be interested in when y'all ever have a building coming to Main Street? And this was before the Main Street revitalization. They were just having these conversations and I was like, I don't know about that. Like there's houses back there, storage units, trees. We don't have any parking, but we came and looked, saw the potential. It wasn't pretty, but my background is in design work. And so I was like, I could see the potential. And I loved that idea. I'm from a small town originally that had an old Main Street and I saw it get revitalized. And so we wanted to be a part of watching something that was almost gone come back to life. And so that's how we landed here.
That's what it's doing.
Yeah.
Well, I see that y'all have 3 services now. So tell us a little bit what goes on. Are they different?
So they're all exactly the same. So we have an 8:30 for everybody who wants the rest of their Sunday to themselves, right? That's my family's favorite. My family shows up at 8:30. We have a 10 o'clock, we have an 11:30. They're all exactly the same. The only difference is right now at 11:30, we don't offer our kids ministry area because we're building that team. But at Collectivus Church, we're a little bit different maybe than other churches you've been in the sense that we do have a kids ministry area that's amazing, incredible people taking care and teaching your kids, but we don't believe that kids are a problem to be solved. And so that isn't an issue for us at 11:30 to have a kids ministry area because we believe our whole church should be full of voices of kids. So every service you'll see, even where we're actually standing right now, is where families are, there's coloring sheets, and so they're all the same except for there's not a formal kids ministry area in that service.
And you always make an announcement about how kids are always welcome, whether they're screaming, crying, or anything, and I've noticed that. I've noticed when I've come in.
Yeah, well, I think we've all just taught ourselves like kids are some problem that need to be solved, and you put them the furthest into the church, and I just think it's a sad day when I don't hear kids. And so, and I've been in churches where I didn't hear kids, and we love it, and I tell people all the time, they're not a distraction to me. Like, I'm the type of ADD that like I can push through that, and if you're sitting here and you're distracted by kids around you, that's between you and your doctor. You can get medicine for that. It'll be okay. You'll figure it out.
Well, other than the kids obviously being welcome, who else? Is it come as
so
you
we are all people. We believe that, well, a couple things. We believe we practice what's called open table communion. Everybody's welcome to the table. The story of communion is interesting. It's Jesus's, you hear it as the Last Supper. Can I tell you a joke? Can I tell you a joke? So my favorite joke, one of my favorite jokes, is Judas, who betrayed Jesus. Betrayed Jesus. I said portrayed, I think. Betrayed Jesus. Comes up to Jesus and he goes, I'm really excited about the Last Supper tonight. And Jesus says, the what? And he goes, the supper, just the normal supper, right? Anyways, I like that joke. I think it's funny. But the Last Supper, Jesus is there and this guy Judas has already betrayed him. This guy Peter is going to deny him in a couple of days. The rest are going to run like cowards, and he breaks the bread and he says, this is my body broken for you. And so I tell people all the time, if you feel as though you're a coward or you've betrayed Jesus or you're gonna, run at his time at different times in your life, then like you really fit well at this table. And so, it's a place for all people. It's a very, very culturally diverse church, as well as politically diverse, economically diverse, all areas. Because we believe, though we have lots of differences, we have something greater in common. Within our faith, we call that the kingdom of God. Within humanity, it's just humanity, right? Like that we are all people made, knitted together, and loved, and that's what we want to expand to anyone and everyone.
Gotcha. Well, you were talking about the Last Supper, so
do you have a joke?
I do not.
Okay. I have another one. Do you want to hear it?
Why not? Let's hear it.
What was the last thing they said before the Last Supper?
What?
Get on this side of the table if you want to be in the picture. So.
Sorry.
Those are my favorites.
Speaking of Last Supper, I hear that you're doing something special for Easter.
Yeah, so Easter this year, we just got the clear with the city, because the Parks and Rec runs things. But because we are 3 services, and we're not a big space, you can see it here, it can sometimes start feeling a little bit like 3 different congregations, different, you just don't see your same people every day. So we're trying to do as much as we can to come all together. But Calera doesn't really have a big location that everybody can come back together.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have auditoriums and we have the campground, some few spots. So we just thought, what can we do? And so actually during COVID, people don't know this, when we launched in the school in COVID, we launched February of 2020. So it was a few weeks when COVID happened. And then we had to figure out what to do. And we were a new church, we're non-denominational, we didn't have any backing, nothing like that. And so we went home, did the video thing, but then we went to the football field. And we were at the football field for about 2 months, meeting out on the football field, like spread out, safe and all that. And so we're actually returning back to the football field for Easter, really excited. And we're gonna have one service where everybody comes together. It'll be at 10:30. It'll be a community service, and we'll have activities for kids. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be more than just even a service. We're gonna make it a whole Easter kind of event. And we're bringing in a company to help do production so that we have enough sound and all that for, you know, we're talking 600 to 800 people, I'm hoping, and it's gonna be beautiful. So everybody's invited to that like always, but it'll be fun to all come together. And that's April 20th at 10:30. And we'll actually have a Saturday night service here for people who travel on Easter. We'll have a community service, which that's a community service too, but it's a community sunrise service in the under the pavilion, which will partner with some other churches in the area as well to offer that. And then at 10:30, we'll all be together out there.
Well, that sounds like an awesome plan.
It'll be a lot of fun. Thanks. I'm excited.
Hey, so we are in the event space. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're in our back space right now. We call this the loft, and that's because there's a loft that we have back here. But we have multiple different sections of the church building. All of it are a part of what we call the event center. So it's a Collectivus church and event center. So every space within the church is usable by other people outside of this for whether it be weddings, or the space we're in back here is a lot of times used for, we have people who actually use it for podcasts during the week, baby showers, birthday parties.
You just had the prom.
We just had an adult prom here. I couldn't make it, but it sounded like a fun time. And then Main Street uses it, and then we have a rule that the city can use it at any time, and any schools can use it at any time. So we see a lot of things for the city and for the school as well. So it has multiple different spaces, some large spaces, some smaller spaces. You can rent it all together. You can rent just certain sections. Sometimes we have two things happening at once. There might be a birthday party on one side and something else happening in the other. But the whole space, and it's a beautiful space too, because again, building was built in 1898, and so we've tried to keep as much of the old charm and mix it in with kind of an industrial new look.
Yeah, so, I love the brick look. I love the lights. I love it.
It's a lot of fun. Old buildings are fun and not fun, but yes, it was an 18-month project of love and labor by a lot of people to make it what it is. But we love this space. I tell people all the time, this gets to be my office, right? This is a great space. So,
and you have someone that runs the events?
Yeah, so we work with an event company, and so basically we just do a 50-50. So we're like, hey, we have a kind of, we call it a neutral space. This is what the room should look like when we give it to them. It looks like when they give it back to us. We keep our hands out of it, and then they just give us a portion of whatever the event cost for the usage of the space. And if you go to Collectivus Church and you call it home, then we actually drop our 50%. And so you just pay the 50% that goes to the event company. So they don't lose out and be like, oh my gosh, I can't stand doing stuff for this church. We never get paid. They still get their portion, but we're not trying to profit off of people either. And so, it works out good.
So if somebody does want to rent it out, who do they contact?
Yeah, so they actually can go to a website that's Collectivus, Collectivus.events. So not .com. Now, if they go to our church webpage, there's a link from there. They can get there, there's multiple ways. But if you just go to Collectivus.events, there's actually a price sheet there. There's a contact form, and it doesn't even come to us as a church. It goes straight to that company, and they handle all of that. So
I love it.
Well. Yeah.
My son's had some friends that have had a birthday party here.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
All kind of things.
It's all kinds of fun. Yeah.
Baby showers.
All kinds of fun stuff. And I do events back here every day. I just don't tell everybody.
So I understand that you sponsor quite a bit of mission efforts globally.
Yes.
So you're spread between Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Yeah,
so we do. We have 4 strategic partners currently internationally. We started that about 2 years. Actually, from the beginning, we had partners in Bulgaria, and then we've recently moved to supporting missionaries in Uganda, Bulgaria, Pakistan, and Portugal as well. And we're looking to add new ones as well. And so we do that internationally, which we financially help support them. We help in prayer support and also just strategic support. And we send mission trips to help to do things as well. So we do a lot of stuff over there. Actually, I'll be in Bulgaria in April and in June. But that's and that actually started out of a different model. So our church is modeled around what we call missional communities. So we have 15 of them in 5 counties. And what these are, this is where all of our missions happen. So if you come to church here on a Sunday, there's a rare chance you're going to hear about missions, not because we don't do them, but we've decided to decentralize those. So these 15 missional communities are just people gathered in homes that do life together, and like mission drives them. So for instance, I got a call a few weeks ago from one of the schools that said, hey, I just want to thank you for all the water. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, well, and they named somebody who goes to our church, brought by a pallet of water. And I just knew that moment that missional community had done that. Does that make sense? And so like, it's not, we tell people we're not really structured well, we're not well organized, we're none of those things. We're way more organic in vision than anything, but it's beautiful because people are actually doing the part, right? And so we're not organizing these things that's happening. Like one of our schools here got a new playground because of one of our missional communities that came together. And again, that's not even financially coming from the church. Like these are people that aren't like, hey, can we get a tax write-off? We send it, like they're just paying for this and just doing this. And so our heart is just to help empower people we say just live missionally instead of like doing missions. We just live missionally. That's what we do. So we do that. And then for our city, we said this earlier when we were chatting, but our church has 2 automatic yeses. Like if you ask, it's a yes. And if it's a school ask or the city ask, it's a yes. And so we want to serve our city, we want to grow with our city. We believe, even though we reach 5 counties, people drive in from other cities. We have people driving in from Tuscaloosa and Anniston and Montgomery that come to church here, but we are in Calera. So we're going to first care for Calera and then all the way to Europe and to Africa and to everywhere in between.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today. We really enjoyed our tour of the church, and I wanted to give you a big shout out and thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it so much. Thank y'all for everything.
Thank you.